guys, it is Reed and welcome back to an awesome tutorial, something highly requested that I've been asked to teach a lot, and that is the straddle pass, or the single card straddle pass. Some of you might know that as the Susan shift from Madison, and it's very similar, but essentially I'm just going to show you my take on the Susan shift and the single card straddle pass. This move is something I had worked on for a long time. It is something that I am very good at, probably one of the things I'm the best at, and I use it all the time. Might be my favorite control, and it's so clean, it looks amazing. It was one of the first moves that I really spent a ton of time, months and months, really perfecting, getting all the subtleties down. So I'm excited to teach it. If you can do the DPS, you'll have a little bit of an advantage with this move. Please, before we get into it, drop a like on this video and leave me a comment if you like this video. Anyway, let's jump right into the single card straddle pass. All right guys, let me show you a demo on the single card straddle pass. I will take the ace of spades, leave it somewhere in the middle of the deck, and just like that, it is already on the bottom. All right, time for some exposure on the single card straddle pass. We will take the 8 of clubs, leave it somewhere in the middle of the deck, and I will push it right into the middle of the deck. All right, time for the breakdown. There's a lot to cover in this video, so sit back, grab your deck, and let's get into it. So, single card straddle pass is a move that I love so much because it's such a nice control. It's so clean, it literally looks like you're just pushing the card in the deck and doing a quick dribble or a quick square. It allows you to have a signed single playing card placed back into the deck and controlled to the bottom. With this, first we're gonna have to talk about the insertion and the sort of DPS action. So it's very similar to the DPS. So when you take the card back, you want to put it about halfway, okay? You might find it's better closer to the top or closer to the bottom for you, but for me, that place is going to be right about halfway. Now you could have the spectator call stop if you're comfortable. I mean, I can do it literally right from the bottom of the deck. It really doesn't matter. I can do it right from the top of the deck. So in either case, you take the card, you put it where you want it, and you want to go about halfway, right? So it's just about halfway. And then you're going to take your middle finger and push just, not at the center line, but just to the left, so the card starts to angle in like that, okay? Now the finger position, this thumb is on the side, and these 3 fingers here, so like a regular mechanic's grip, it riffles, places the card in. This comes over, and these hands, you can keep this together, right? So if you need to cover your windows when you're first practicing, keep that hand together. When I do that, watch how slow I can do it and pretty much not have a flash. It's so close to the camera, right? Because I have so much covered. Now when I do it, I'm much more open because I've spent time and I can do it so fast in the angles that having some windows is fine. But you kind of keep your hand like this. You can extend the index finger. I like to curl it, and you just push that middle finger, but essentially you're just doing this, but you just have these fingers to cover all the windows. So you're pushing it in until it can't push any further, because the point where it's pushing is now inside the deck, right? What's gonna happen is this corner is gonna come off here, and it's gonna go right under the thumb. So the thumb is gonna be up here, and that's gonna come right underneath, and it's gonna transfer to the thumb. Back here, it's out by the pinky / ring finger, and now you can pull with the thumb and those fingers and freely slide that card. Right here are your contact points. All right. Another thing that helps with this is in the DPS, you want to keep this deck in your hand so there's no hole back here as you take the card into palm. With this, I find it's better to have it elevated. Okay, so instead of in the hand like that, you're gonna curl the index finger and put it all at the fingertips. Now it can be done both ways, right? That was when I had everything close, but it's better to be up like this. You can do it faster, all that stuff. So you see everything's at the fingertips, at the tips of my thumb, so there's this big hole at the bottom now, but that's okay because we're gonna kind of tilt it down. So the pad of the thumb is up against the deck as well, and this thumb's here. Now, as we push that card in, you know, you want to make sure, I had a bad habit, and sometimes I still do it, of starting the thumb back, and then I do this, and I reach it forward and pull. Ideally, you want to have the thumb already here, so you can just kind of cover it, and you don't really get much flash of that top corner there, right? Because how I used to do it is I'd go like this, and then I'd go like that, right? And you have that thumb motion, which ideally you keep that covered, okay? keep that covered. The thumb just kind of takes the card back like that. When I'm doing my sliding, it's pretty much, the pinky's not really doing much. I do the ring finger and middle finger because the pinky in this is going to need to do the straddle. So this is slightly different than the DPS. Some people might pull with the pinky for the DPS, but you're going to want to pull with the ring finger and the middle finger, or just one of either of those. But what I do is I angle, and then I'm using the thumb and these two fingers. Other thing that's different, with the DPS you wanted to get these fingers up at the front, and what that allows is the card to just freely kind of exit and come out the back here, and you didn't have the problem where it would hit the pinky. But in this case you do want it to hit the pinky, because what we're going to do is we're going to straddle the card between the pinky and the index finger and bend it and send it underneath. What that allows is for the card not to have to come all the way back to where it clears. I can literally take it like halfway and then just bend it out of the deck. You see what I mean? So instead of the card having to come all the way out to go underneath, it can come out to here and then just bend and shoot to the bottom of the deck. And also, bending the card like this allows it to shoot forward and spring back under the deck. It's hard to show, but now you don't have to bring your hand forward. You can just kind of shoot the card forward, which we'll get there in a minute. Angle, pull with these fingers, but the other thing, you're going to want to get it so the pinky's down at this bottom corner. And what that's going to do is, as you do the angle, this corner is going to just hit the pinky right away, so you're already ready to do the straddle. Okay, you do want this card to come and contact the pinky. You want it to kind of get stuck almost. So you go, pull through, get stuck on the pinky. Then when that happens, you're pulling back now with the pinky along that bottom edge. As the thumb gets back to the point where it's about to contact this edge of the deck, that's when you start to do the pivot, just like the DPS. We're going to pivot around this right thumb here. What we're pivoting for is we're pivoting until this corner comes out of the deck. Then the index finger that was curled on the bottom is going to reach up, grab there. The second it touches, then we just bend the card, okay? From the side, the second it touches, we now just bend the card out of the deck and it springs up underneath. So doing all of this allows us to save a lot of time and a lot of motion, sort of, because we don't have to bring the card so far back. It's just to here and then it springs out and underneath. So hopefully you can see this, but watch, I just come to here and then it's boom. Then I just literally pull it. So from the top, index pushes over, thumb, ring finger, middle finger are going to grip to get ready to slide, and the pinky contacts the bottom corner instantly. The second that the card comes through and hits that pinky, that's when we start to pull back until the point where you'll feel this back corner tap this thumb right there. Right there, when the corner comes out, it'll slide along the thumb, and now we can start to pivot. Come through, boom, I feel it here. Now I can use the ring and index to pivot it around the thumb. The second this corner comes out, the index finger that was curled underneath shoots over, and I start to squeeze the card like this. So I squeeze, and now it's just going to slide out. And I now under here, I let go with the index. It's kind of hard to show, but I let go with the index, and you see it springs forward off of the index, and then it's just going to shoot into the base of the hand, okay? And then, now that it's shot into the bottom of the hand, there's a couple of things you can do. You shoot it right underneath, and you can go into a riffle, or even faster, you just shoot it into your hand. Then you don't have to be very perfect, so you just shoot it into your hand like this, and you just instantly go into a dribble. That's really nice. There's a lot of leeway. You don't have to perfectly take the card and square it up underneath or anything. You can just go through, let it spring, and then begin the dribble at the same time. You can almost start the dribble as the card is still in the deck. You kind of start to dribble, then you pop and go like that, right? So it's like instantly, the second the card pops from the deck, the dribble begins. So this is a tricky move, guys, but I'm trying to break it down as easy as I can. If I missed anything like a finger position or something, just watch the video back and see what I'm doing. You know, it's a hard one to show. All right, I'll show you a few different angles. Just as the card comes out, I spring. Now in terms of angles, you want to aim at the eye line, okay? You come through, and then as it pulls out, you kind of start to tilt down as you do the dribble, okay? So this, with the DPS, you are very much at the eye line the whole time, okay? With the DPS, right, you're at the eye line pretty much the entire time, and that's the angle. Whereas this, you're at the eye line, but then you don't want to flash that underneath. So as you pull, you start to tilt the deck forward like that. So come through, then tilt down and spring. And once you get these moves ingrained, the angles just become natural and you just kind of figure it out. What I love about this move is it is virtually invisible from like all angles but the side. And I know this angle is probably the most exposed, but when you do it so fast, like with the dribble, like people never see it, man. Like it's just so, you know, you can see how smooth, like you almost don't even see the card like that. This angle is totally hidden by the hand for the most part, so you're totally fine. You just see a little flash. In my opinion though, it's definitely angle proof from pretty much 180 degrees. So you just really want to work on those angles there. Now in terms of some subtleties, the dribble is very important. That helps cover it. You can see if I don't dribble, the card is there. So I'm letting it spring into that open kind of dribble hand ready to catch. And then I just let everything fall underneath. So literally, even if I screw up this move and the card ends up sideways somehow, the dribble is going to cover everything in a mess and I can easily just kind of fix it and square everything. So dribble's great. If you get better, you'll be able to just come and take the card and square it up underneath, and then you won't even need any cover like that. But even with that move, I would come and do a riffle at the front. But eventually, as you get better, you'll just be able to kind of go like that. It's a preference at that point. You know, you want to make sure those windows, like I said, when you're first doing it, make sure those windows are nice and tight, because then you have so much more coverage from all angles. And as you pull this back through, if you're tilted too far forward, you'll get that flash here. That's why you want to kind of go eye line until you've done that and then tilt forward. Body language, biggest thing is just smooth and be natural with this. You just want to make it look like you're taking that card, pushing it in and dribbling. So regular for me, it would just look like that. And then the actual move would be that. So it basically looks the same. You just have barely a half second as I do the actual straddle pass. In terms of uses and other ideas, there's of course doing this with multiple cards. I'm going to make a different video on doing the multi-card straddle pass, which is something I use a lot, where you can take let's say the aces, for example, and put them in different spots and still use the straddle pass to pass them all to the bottom. That is quite difficult, so I'm going to make another video. But in this one, I just wanted to give you the point that you can still do multiple cards much easier if you just put them all in the same spot. And then it just acts as one sort of thick card, and you can do it and control them to the bottom. But in another video, I will give you my tips and tricks for putting the 4 aces in 4 different spots in the deck and still being able to utilize the straddle pass to get them to the bottom. The best way to practice this move, guys, is in front of a mirror or a camera that you can watch back and just play very slowly so that you can do it all very slow without flashing at all, like I just did there. So you just come and you practice, okay, when I first push it in, I want to come like this, up, 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 do the straddle, make sure I'm not too high so I'm not flashing underneath, keep this hand closed because I can get all the cover to cover that card. And then when I do the pop, that's when I start to tilt the deck down and begin the dribble instantly. And once you get that, I mean, it's really quite a straightforward sort of move. So again, push it at the angle. Just as this corner comes out, this index finger darts and bends the card. So, you know, and as you get better, you'll be able to pull it through and just, you know, barely have to pull the card back anymore. You'll be able to do it all from there. The idea here, you want to not move this hand as much as possible, because in the DPS you have to pull this thumb all the way back, but here you can really just pull the thumb back a little bit and then do your rotation, boom, and do everything else with the fingers, and you see the thumb didn't even move. What's nice, if you watch this back pinky here, once I get into position, the pinky doesn't even go back any further. Really, it's all just that front finger pulling everything forward. So you really have that nice motion where you barely have to move that hand. And you just have this sort of finger motion underneath. but the thumb doesn't move, so that hand barely moves. The top hand doesn't move, and then if you keep those fingers mostly hidden, right, you see how I hide them all by using the top of the deck? Now there's barely any movement. I just come here, boom, and it's done. Like, it's such a clean sort of move because you can keep both hands apparently so still. And I just did it like 6 times in a row there, right guys? Like, it's just such a clean move. All right, so that is my tips and tricks on the single card straddle pass, something I've spent a lot of time on, put a lot of work into. I hope this video was helpful and useful, guys. I realized this is one of the hardest moves for me to teach. I was really struggling to get the angles and show you guys all the different ideas and, you know, how to get better at it. Like, we're taking the DPS, that is push, pull all the way through, and we're just shortening it. We're just pushing, pulling a little bit, and then we're doing a quick rotation, popping, moving to the bottom, and the second that card pops out, you can begin the dribble right away, so it camouflages it really well. So I prefer it to the DPS, more cover, but guys, I have a lot of great variations on this that I'm excited to teach you guys at some point. I have a DPS cover control, the strike shift, which is doing this straight into a palm, which is similar to Madison's like Susan shift or squeeze shift, where he goes into a palm, but mine is a slightly different handling, and I think it's a bit faster, and you can just get the card straight into palm without having to control to bottom and then readjust in palm. You can literally just boom, take it away. A lot of great variations. Let me know in the comments if you guys want to learn those and want me to do a tutorial on them someday. Welcome all the new subs. Let me know what you think of this video. Drop me a comment, guys, because I would love to hear. Hopefully this video was helpful. Hopefully you've either learned something new, or I was able to get you to finally be able to do this move proficiently. But it just takes practice, it just takes dedication. So with all that said, guys, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I will catch you in the next video.